Hey guys, I'm Mikey Microphone, and the microphone is a metaphor for the fact that you have something beautiful to say, but you need to make the arrangements so that you can be heard. Today I am going to be a guest on a podcast, Commander Cast. Thank you so much to Mark for having me on the show. Really excited. And we are going to discuss one of my ideas about Commander, which is playing a game without the cards that were printed for Commander. Those cards, they most of them reference the rules of Commander, like giving a creature to other people, but they can't attack you. I mean, that clearly references the fact that you're in a multiplayer game. And I think I think it's interesting to try to use cards that were designed for two-player Magic or non-Commander Magic and try to fit them into the Commander rules rather than leveraging cards that actually know about the Commander rules. So we're going to discuss that, and um, there isn't really a list of the cards on any of the resources that I know of. Now, this search query from magiccards.info seems to do a good job at isolating them. And there were a couple of other sources on Reddit that looked pretty accurate. But we're going to use, if I can get it ready in time, we're going to use my site as a place where this reference information can live permanently. So recently I kind of removed some of the cards from my database. Now, if you have been watching this series, you know that I was able to use a combination of MTG JSON and Scryfall to ingest data about all Magic cards into my database. That process put me over a limit that I'm currently restricted by in my server setup. So normally the number of rows of data is not limited. A database is designed to be very flexible on that. But I currently have a limit of 10,000 rows. And the reason for that is because the service that I'm using is free. So I decided that this topic, even though it's not normally an aspect of data design, normally I would say don't limit yourself, don't worry about the number of rows of data. Since this is relevant to bootstrapping because this is a service that's available for free, and if you can regard this limit, then it can give you a longer runway for bootstrapping. I decided that this would be fun to discuss. So there's two paths forward that I have available to me as I tackle this over the next hour. One is that I can rerun the script that ingests all the cards. Then I will be temporarily over this limit. Then I can make a list of the cards that we'll be discussing, which is about, I guess it's about 350 cards. And then I can rerun a script that culls unreferenced cards so that I will be under the limit and my application will be in compliance. Now, my understanding is that if I go out of compliance, there may be a grace period before they shut me down. But since I've already experienced that grace period, I'm not sure if they will grant it to me again. They probably would because offering free services is a big part of their business plan. But on the other hand, they don't necessarily want to make it something that can be abused over and over. So I really don't know what would happen if I went over the limit. It might shut me down so promptly that my plan of capturing the cards and then culling other cards would not be feasible. The other option is that I can use another part of the Scryfall API to search for cards that are being added. So my interface allows the user to type the name of a card. That then gets matched against my data, and then that card gets appended, or that card gets included in their list item. So this system was already on my radar because I was like, how am I going to add new cards to the data as they come out? Now, the ingesting script that I wrote is repeatable. So if I wait until MTG JSON gets updated with the details of a new set, I can then ingest that JSON and it will update my data to reflect all the new cards. But during preview season, MTG JSON is not going to be updated. That's not going to be updated until the set is fully spoiled. So, or perhaps until it's actually released. I don't know what they're... So since that is not going to be updated during preview season, that would cut off a major opportunity for me to promote my, or not just to promote it, but also to serve the community. Because preview season is a very important time for articles that would discuss cards. And Scryfall does offer data during preview season. So leaning on their data and leaning on their ability to search the data is a cool opportunity, not only for Commander, but also for Ixalan and other sets as they come out. So basically, the first plan of attack is to use this search API and we'll probably start by using the exact search rather than the fuzzy one. And if a card is found, it will be added to my database, and then it will be decorated with, yeah, it will be added and then it will be fully fleshed out. So here is the current code that I have. This is the task that takes cards from the MTG JSON and puts them into the database as something that has a CMC, it has colors, it has types, and it has a name. And casting costs. Now the only piece of data that's actually being used by the application as currently is the name. The colors, types, and casting costs are not being used. So that actually provides an interesting layer of inconsistency, because if I remember noticing that the Scryfall data was not very well structured regarding types and colors. So if I ingest cards, I guess basically I can just replace these line items with like a find or create, rather than creating a new card and then giving it a name. I'll say, if there is a card with this name, use that card. Otherwise, create one. And that's typically what is done in order to make these tasks repeatable. In fact, okay, so the reason this task is currently repeatable is because during the save step, it will check for a card by that name. So this is designed to basically skip over cards that have already been added. It would also be possible to add a second step that was like, oh, find cards that have been added but don't have the type and color indicated, and then we could update those. Anyway, that's not relevant to what I'm doing today, but I just wanted to notice it because now I hopefully won't forget. After the cards are added to the database, this is the script that accesses Scryfall to get the image data and the multiverse ID. So I don't think that cards from previous season will have a multiverse ID, and my app is currently not using the multiverse ID, so what I'm focused on now is the image. And, well, do I need to... I guess what I'm going to be doing is all in one step, finding the card, saving it, and getting the image. So the reason I wanted to look at this code is because I know that it will give me some clues about how to use Ruby to access Scryfall. Let's see, did I... So I didn't have to include OpenURI. OpenURI was already included in my environment, so I can just say open, pass it a URL, assign the result of that method to a local variable called result. Then I can use the string API or string IO API to read the text of that result, parse it as JSON, and then just simply interact with the JSON that I have there. So this doesn't handle the case for when things are misspelled, but for the purposes of what I need today, I'm not going to be misspelling anything. I'm just going to basically be copying text just like this. So there won't be any misspelling, but it is good to at least note that, you know, my process has that weakness currently, and that is going to manifest itself at some point. So, card inclusions create. Here is what is happening when a user includes a card in a list. And I'll go ahead and start up my server to illustrate this. Okay. I'm using this forwarding service so that I can try to sign in with Facebook. That way I don't have to type in a password. And now, commander only cards. This will be randomized, I think. I'll make it ordered for now because that might make... This is just local data, it's not going online, and ordered might make things a little simpler for the video production process. Normally I try to randomize every list that I can. I think that's a good way to reduce bias in the writing. Okay, so Okay, so including a card. Currently what will happen is that card was not found. It tries to find the card by its name. Okay, so what we're going to do is say if the card was not found, then we're going to jump into Scryfall and find it. Okay, so the thing we're searching for is the name. And this code here is assuming that we already have an object called card. So I'll just make one. Card equals card.new. And I'll give it a name. Okay, so a lot of these cards are not going to have a multiverse ID. That's okay, I can still attempt. This is my good one. And then this will say card.save if card.image url.present. I am not sure if okay, so like I said, at the moment I'm not planning to mess with any of these card names. I'm planning to just copy and paste them. But whatever, we'll try this out and see what happens. And then I'll just go ahead and assign this variable to the value of this one because I know that the rest of this code is expecting a variable by this name. So I'm going to try that out and see what happens. Okay, cool. So it found the card, saved it, attached it to the thing, and then displayed it. So I'm going to refresh this. Cool. So that worked, and I'm now going to deploy this and start making my list. So remember that you'll be able to find this list on wayswemage.com. So thanks a lot, and I will see you guys real soon. And remember to tune in to that podcast. It's going to be, I believe, episode 297. Thanks.